Hey guys, we are going to be trying and swatching and talking all about new makeup today. I've been hoarding new makeup over the past week or so. I've purchased some, I've gotten some in PR. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I have a feeling this is going to be a long video. So just to share with you some of the things we'll be talking about today, the Chantecaille Wild Meadows collection. This is their spring 2023 collection. This has been available on their site for a while, but they just sent it to me in PR, which is incredible. So we're going to be playing with that. We've got 2 blushes, an eyeshadow palette, which is a quartet, and 3 lip products. And then I ordered some of the new Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder Flushed from Danessa Myricks. I have the shades Rose and Brunch and Jubilee. So we'll be trying that. I was also sent in PR from Tower 28, their new sculpting cream product, and they sent the shade Getty over to me. So I do want to try that as well. This is going to be a really interesting video because I have so many cheek products. I'm going to be removing stuff and swatching stuff for you. So I'm not actually going to be putting foundation down, but that's okay. We're just going to be casually playing around with some new makeup here. NARS sent me their Orgasm collection. This is also not completely brand new, but we'll be playing with that. And I also want to try at least a couple shades from the Isamaya Wild Star collection. So we'll be playing with that as well, and I'll be doing some swatches of all the shades in here. And what else? I think the most exciting thing that I have for you today, which is where we're going to start, is the new Tom Ford concealer. So this is the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer. I have it in the shade Creme, which is 2N0. I did a whole video comparing this with the Clé de Peau stick concealer, and my sound was off the entire time. And actually, let me know how the sound sounds in this video because I had to get a new cable. It was the thing. Anyway, the sound didn't come out. I was pretty pissed, but I can at least relay to you the findings that came from that little wear test. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with just applying the Tom Ford concealer. And I got a shade that basically I think works underneath my eyes and on my face as well. So it's not especially brightening. If you like something, you know, lighter for underneath your eyes, you use me as a shade reference. I think 2N0 is not that brightening. I think it is definitely more just kind of like my skin tone. Actually, you can tell. It's just kind of my skin tone. I'm gonna use my Sonia G mini base brush just to blend that in. Just to give you a lowdown of the Clé de Peau, and I will throw some footage up here as I'm talking because I do have the footage, I just don't have the sound for the wear test. So I basically did a wear test for about 7 hours. So I put it on at 11 a.m. and I did my final check-in at 6 p.m. And what I found was that they both wore really well, actually very, very similarly. The only difference I saw was that the Tom Ford broke up around my nose just a little bit. And I think it's because the skin around my nose is the oiliest part of my face. And the Tom Ford is actually very, very emollient feeling. I know there's a bunch of ingredients in there or whatever, you know, there's like powders or whatever to keep it very long lasting. I think they claim a 12-hour wear, which I would basically have to agree with. I mean, the breakdown was so minor. I really had to get in close. It was one of those things that even if you were talking to me at arm's length, you wouldn't be able to notice it. It was just something that I could see because I was really up close inspecting in a magnifying mirror, in, you know, studio lighting, in natural lighting, all of the stuff. Anyway, so there was just a little bit of a breakdown around my nose. I didn't notice that on the Clé de Peau side. Some other differences to note, like I mentioned, the Tom Ford is quite emollient. The Clé de Peau is a little bit stiffer when you apply it. It also has, I would say, a teensy bit more coverage. And it's probably, and it's hard for me to say because I have very dry skin, but I'm gonna guess that the Clé de Peau is probably a little bit better if you have normal to oily skin, and the Tom Ford is probably something that you're gonna like if you have drier skin because it does kind of go on much more, like I said, it's just much more emollient. So those are kind of the major differences. They both wore really, really well. And one thing that Clé de Peau definitely has over the Tom Ford is it does have SPF 27 in here. And I think if you are going to be using something under eye, that's really, really handy. The under eye skin is so delicate. SPF is so important to prevent wrinkles. So the SPF 27 is definitely very, very helpful. But all in all, I really, really do like the Tom Ford concealer. I think for someone with dry skin, like I said, it just goes on really easily. It goes on really, really smoothly. It's so smooth that I thought for sure it was gonna break down before that 12-hour mark, and it really didn't. It just remains very, very natural looking. They both have a very similar finish as well. Neither, I would say, is radiant, neither is matte. They both have a very kind of natural skin-like finish, which is really lovely. So these are very, very comparable, I have to say. So one thing I do want to mention is there's 5 grams of product in the Clé de Peau, and in the Tom Ford, there's 3.5 grams of product. So there's considerably less product in the Tom Ford versus the Clé de Peau. So that's a difference to note. And also, I believe both products are made in Japan, the Clé de Peau and the Tom Ford. So just FYI. So that is the Tom Ford concealer. All right, let's move on to all of these cheek products that I have. I'm trying to figure out where to start. I think what I want to do is start with the Danessa Myricks, because this I think is what I'm most curious about. I want to compare these to the palettes that she has. So this is the palette that I'm referring to. These are the Dewy Cheek and Lip palette. And just by the looks, I'm going to guess that this is creamier versus this, but we'll see. So here is the packaging, and this is a screw top cover. So this is shade Jubilee. So this is part of her Yummy Skin line. So if you have that like blurring balm that she has, it has a very similar feel to it. So it does feel very emollient when you put your finger in there. I don't know if you can see that. And then here's a swatch of Jubilee. It thins out and sets down really nicely. Let's check this other shade, which is Rose and Brunch. So here's what Rose and Brunch looks like. This one I was hoping is, yeah, pinker than Jubilee. So there is Rose and Brunch, and there's Jubilee. Let's take a look at the Dewy Cheek and Lip palette. These have like a thicker, kind of tackier formulation, where the Yummy Skin Flushed balms they're slicker, almost like they have more slip to them, almost like they have more silicone. I don't know, I'm not a formulator, but it kind of has that feeling where this feels more gooey, if you will. Like these almost feel like more like a lip balm than these. These feel a lot thinner and slippier than the Dewy Cheek and Lip palette. You can see though that the pigmentation level is about the same. Yeah, there's just like a little bit of a thicker feel to these, but these also set down, so they're not tacky. Once they set down, they're actually very, very smooth. So now that all 3 of these are kind of set down, I want to say this one, while none of them feel tacky, this one feels the least dry. Like, I don't know if you can see how this has a little bit of shine. These are more matte than this one. A little bit more of a, kind of like a powdery feeling. So yeah, I hope I described the differences okay. So I'm gonna try the Jubilee shade first. This is the one that was a little bit more orange, and I'm gonna go ahead and try this with my finger. I'm gonna try the other one with a brush. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit. It is fairly pigmented, and I'm gonna tap and blend in. Wow, that is very pigmented. Yeah, this definitely has more of like a powdery feel versus the Dewy Cheek and Lip palette. Yes, and now that I have it on the cheek, you can see the kind of like powdery matte finish. It's pretty. That blended out really, really nicely. Okay, so that is Jubilee. Now let's try this Rose and Brunch with a brush. All right, I've got my Sonia G mini base brush here. I'm just going to pick up a little bit. Oops, that was a lot of it. So maybe not that many pounces, maybe just a couple pounces. Yeah, that was too much. Let me wipe some off on the back of my hand. Yeah, I picked up way too much. Well, at least you have a good sense of the shade. So here is Rose and Brunch. So I'm trying to blend it out here. Just put too much on. But it's very pretty. If you like a matte blush, I think you'll love this. And I do have larger pores right here, and I do feel like it is blurring those pores out. So maybe if you have bigger pores on your cheek area, this is also a really good option. And these colors are very pretty, and I think you could very easily build them up or just apply them lightly like I did over here. Oh, but these are nice. I think personal preference, not that these are bad products, I think I prefer the Dewy Cheek and Lip palette formula just a little bit more because you guys know me. I have such dry skin that I don't usually go for like matte products. Although I don't feel like this makes my skin necessarily look dry. It's probably just not the option I'm going to personally reach for. But they are very, very nice, and I like these shades. So these are the Yummy Skin Flushed Blurring Balm Powders. Okay, just removed the Danessa Myricks. I'm just going to apply a little bit more concealer again, just to kind of even out my skin tone, since we're going to be trying more cheek products. Okay, the next cheek product is one that I actually forgot about, but this is from a brand called Lukey Lukey. They are based in Ireland, and they're carried at, I believe, Beauty Habit, and they also have their own website. But anyway, they sent over 2 of their cream blushes. These are called the Dream Cheeks cream blushes, and they sent over 1111, which is this beautiful kind of like glossy product, and then this one is Blossom Bloom. So I'm gonna go in with my finger. Yeah, let's try my finger. And I'm just gonna pick up a little bit and just start to tap that on. Wow, these have a lot of pigment. Nice. This applies beautifully. This has more of like a natural skin-like finish versus the Danessa Myricks, which was a little bit matter. But this is far from radiant if you don't like a super glowy cheek. This just has, like I said, just a really natural skin-like finish. That's really pretty. Blossom Bloom. What I want to do, what they suggested, was to tap the 1111 over a blush, because this will give it a little bit of radiance and sheen if that's what you're looking for. So I'm just going to go in and pick up a little bit. And this particular shade does feel more emollient than the Blossom Bloom. So I'm going to tap this over. Oh, pretty. I think this could be a really nice highlight too. Oh, I love that. So there is the Blossom Bloom with the 1111 tapped on top. I'm actually going to try the 1111 by itself over here just to see if it has enough pigment to give me a flush. A little bit, but really it's more, I think for me, my taste, my skin tone, this is more of a highlight. That's a really beautiful glossy finish. I love that. Look at that. It's like a soft satin finish. That's beautiful. All right, so those are the Looky Looky Dream Cheeks. Look how cute this packaging is. And they're a brand new company, by the way, and this is their first product, and I'm really impressed. I love this. I can't stop looking at my cheek right here. I'm gonna use up all this Tom Ford concealer in this video. Maybe I should move back to my Dior Forever Skin Correct concealers, the older ones, for this video, because I feel like I'm gonna use up all of my Tom Ford concealer. All right. A blank canvas again. All right, what cheek product should we try now? So we did Danessa Myricks, we did Looky Looky. Well, let's do NARS. So here is the Orgasm Foreplay Cheek Quad. So we have Swinger, Orgasm, Orgasm X, and Orgasm Rush. I haven't always been the biggest fan of the Orgasm in like the regular powder formula, so I am curious if I'm gonna like it in this baked formula. I feel like I've tried it as a baked formula in a different like 6-pan palette of theirs, and I liked it more, so I am very curious. So let's go ahead and apply Orgasm, just straight up Orgasm. So there is Orgasm. You know what I think kind of turns me off from Orgasm is the reflective bits. Even in the powder version, they're very orangey, and you know, you look at it and you think it's going to be like a peachy pink. You see like the gold reflect, but for some reason I feel like maybe the gold and the pink in there, just it turns really orangey, and I'm just not the biggest fan of that. Yeah, not the biggest fan of this particular shade, but if you're a fan of Orgasm, this is what this version looks like. I want to try the Orgasm X on this side. I think the Orgasm Rush will probably be a little bit too deep for me, so I'm going to go into Orgasm X. Yeah, I feel like this shade suits me better. The reflect isn't quite as yellow gold, and so the underlying shade just kind of stays that like pink. It doesn't turn too orangey, too peachy. I love that it's a baked product. I feel like I can really build it up slowly, which is nice, because I think this shade typically for my skin tone is going to be a little bit too deep, but that's pretty. Let's try this as a highlight here. I haven't used like an old school fan brush in a really long time. Let's try this. This is the Wang Goss one. I'm gonna put it over my Orgasm X cheek here. That's pretty. It's maybe a little bit too deep, a little bit too yellow for my skin tone, but I think I can get away with it, especially for an evening look. I think that would be nice. So there it is over the Orgasm. Looks nice. Okay, all right, that is the Foreplay Blush Quad. And then they also sent over the Orgasm sticks. So one is an Orgasm and one is an Orgasm Rush, which is that deeper shade, which is so beautiful. I love these multiple sticks. I'm gonna actually pick some up on my finger. These are very kind of like cream to powder type of formula. And I'm just gonna tap this on in the back here, because this is a pretty deep, warm shade. So there is Orgasm Rush. That's pretty. It does a nice kind of like blush into contour kind of transition there. And then I could throw in some contour if I wanted to. That's nice. So that is Orgasm Rush. And then the last thing from the Orgasm collection is this 9-pan eyeshadow palette, which is really, really pretty. So here's some swatches of the shades from left to right, top to bottom. We've got Hot Wired, High Speed, Orgasm, Seven Heaven, Seduced, Reckless, Push It, Faster Pussycat, and Galapagos. Now, some of these shade names are very familiar to me, like obviously like Orgasm, but also Hot Wired and Galapagos. So I don't think all of these shades are brand new. They work beautifully in this palette. So let's do a quick eye look, just play around with some of these shades. I'm gonna take a fluffy blender, this Refer number 15 brush, and I'm gonna go into Seven Heaven, this shade right here. It's just like a matte transition. And add that to my outer corner and my transition area. You can't really tell in the pan, maybe because it's surrounded by so much pink, but there's a slight pink undertone to this shade, because these shades, generally, if I were to find something very similar in a different palette, it would warm up and look quite orangey on my eye. But this one actually looks a little bit pinker. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, I hope you guys can see that. It has like a really pretty like pink, almost slightly peach kind of hint to it. I'm gonna go with this Hot Wired shade right here. I'm gonna put that all over the lid. I'm gonna use a flat shade of the Refer number 1 brush. That's really pretty. Very ethereal looking. I'm just gonna take that same Refer number 1 brush. I'm gonna go into this shade, which is called Reckless. It's this one here. It's like kind of a peachy brown, and it has like gold micro glitters in there. I'm just kind of curious what it's gonna look like. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit and just add it right to the outer corner here and kind of blend it towards the center of my lid. Ooh, okay. I was eyeing this palette when I was in New York. I really wanted to get it, and I was like, no, it's gonna break in my luggage or something tragic is gonna happen. So this color story was really attractive to me, but now that I'm actually using it, I like it even more. It's really pretty. I just want to throw in one last shade. I'm going to use this Galapagos shade, just sort of deepen up the outer corners. And I'm going to use the Sonia G mini booster brush. Tap it right at the edge there. Ooh, that's nice. I'm going to take this Refer number 3 brush, which is a pencil brush, go back into Galapagos, and just drag that along my lower lash line. Blend it out beautifully. I love how all the shades, at least the shades that I picked, work together. Really pretty. Nice. Okay, I am impressed. There's been a lot of NARS eyeshadow palettes that have come out that have seemed very redundant, and I don't want to say that this is earth-shattering in any way, but this one is very, very pretty. I like this. It's, you know, it's got a little pinkness going on, but it's not too much. There's like 2 shades in here that are really pink, and then the rest are fairly neutral, which is nice. So now I'm gonna take all this off and we're gonna continue playing around with more makeup. Okay, now what do we have left? We have Chantecaille left. We have the Tower, here's the Tower 28 sculpt. I think I wanna start with this. So I'm gonna grab the Sonia G Classic base brush. It's a bit bigger than the mini base. And I'm gonna go into this Sculptino in shade Getty. Just apply under my cheeks here. All right, so there is Sculptino applied and nothing here. Add a little bit more, make it more dramatic. This is a good shade for me. So this tone is like a teensy bit warm leaning. So this is a nice contour, I want to say, for the summertime when I start to use much warmer like bronzers and things. But yeah, it has a really nice tone for sculpting. Wow, I put a lot more on this side, sorry. Yeah, you can really sculpt out with this. Let me drag it down, really do that buccal fat removal thing. If you want to imitate that for whatever reason, just bring your contour like down under the cheek and then down. And then you'll really get that gaunt look. Do you see that? Yeah, it's pretty easy to do with contour if you don't want to go under the knife. All right, so that is the Tower 28 Sculptino in Getty. That's really nice. I mean, I love the Tower 28 cream products. They always apply and blend out really, really beautifully. Awesome. So what do we have left? We have Isamaya and then we have Chantecaille. I want to end with Chantecaille because I feel like that's probably the mood I'm going to be in for the rest of the day. So I'm going to go in and apply some of the Isamaya eyeshadow. Now I have one shade, if you guys watched me unbox this one shade broke and got all over the place, and I actually stepped in it. It was a whole mess. Anyway, it's all fine now, but that one shade is why I'm kind of holding this up very, very gingerly. So I am going to swatch basically from this matte cream shade all the way around and then end with this center shade. So first we have Maine, Rodeo, Bronco, Mare, WOA, Spur, Chaps, Saddle, Divot, Canter, Dressage, and then the center shade is Stirrup. And this is a pressed pigment palette, FYI. I wonder if Tara Babies here on YouTube has this because she's a rancher. She has horses, and I think she would probably love this. This shade and this shade, these two pinks actually remind me of her too, and the purple and the blue. I think she would like this. I have to watch her latest haul videos and see if she picked this up. Anyway, I'm not going to get too crazy with these shadows because I'm going to have to remove them and put the Chantecaille on, and I don't want any of these like major glitters to linger. So there are 3 mattes in here, and then we have like a variety of like metallic satin shimmers. I am trying to get the sticker off of this mirror and it's really being stubborn. Yes. I'm gonna go into this matte shade here, just start there, and I'm using a Rephr Fluffy Blender again, number 15. And just gonna add that to the outer corner. This is like deja vu, right? Outer corner socket line area. And this one has a little bit of warmth to it, but I don't feel like it's turning orange on my eyes, which is good. I am probably most curious about the shade that broke, but I don't want to be poking at it because I think it's just going to make a mess. I'm really intrigued by this shade, which looks like a light mint green. So I think I'm going to put that all over my lid, see what it looks like. I'm going to take that Rephr number 2 brush again. I think the word smear is probably the best description for these shadows because these metallic kind of glittery ones are really, really creamy. Yeah, they're creamy and flaky all at the same time, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of like pressing down and like trying to scoop up some of this shadow. I'm just dragging it over my lid. I am getting a bit of fallout, to be expected. Yeah, I have quite a bit of fallout with that shade. Wow, this is very glittery, super glittery. I don't think it's the easiest to use though. It is a little bit difficult to pick up, a little bit difficult, but wow, if you want a glittery shade, whew. My lids look like a disco ball. Back to that fluffy blender, and I'm gonna go into this deep brown shade, which is a glittery shade down here. There is a deep brown matte shade up here, but I want to try this one and see if I can use this to deepen up my outer corner. That worked, a little dimension over there. I think I want to try the pink, this one, this super hot pink. I'm going to use my finger. Maybe that'll be easier. I'm going to tap this onto the set. Wow. Look at that pink. Holy moly. Wow. I have to say that looks pretty cool. Not really an everyday look for me, but that's pretty cool. Really pretty, a lot of fun. For me personally, I love her first, the industrial palette, a lot more than this one, only because there's so many more shades in there that I feel like I can use a little bit more regularly. This is like the party version of that palette. So anyway, just a lot of fun if you guys are into the occasional bright eyeshadow look. I think I think you'll love this one. That pink is incredible though, right? Let me take all of this off and we're gonna start from the tippy top. Oh wow, I just took off the eyeshadow, but it kind of left like a line of the eyeshadow. And that pink would be so cool as just like a liner, something really graphic. Oh, I should have done that. That's really cool though. Oh, I like that. All right, we are barefaced again. I put a little bit of my skincare back on, but I wanted to start with this RMS primer. This is the Re-Evolve Radiance Locking Primer. I think this got really good reviews. There was some reason why this kind of piqued my interest. So this is also, I believe, refillable. Yeah. Shake this up. I don't know if I need to, but usually you do. So I'm gonna twist and pump out. A couple of pumps there. I believe there is squalane in this product, so it's gonna have that. This makes it sound bad, but I actually really like it. It has a little bit of that like sliminess that squalane has. I'm actually gonna pump out one more pump. There's a very slight scent or fragrance to this. That's nice. My skin feels like a little tacky, like, you know, I just put skincare on. Well, that's really nice. I feel like there's a little bit of radiance to my skin, which is also really beautiful. Oh, lovely. Out of all of that new makeup I tried, I don't have any new foundation. However, this was sent to me and I've tried it a couple of times before and I really enjoyed it, but I decluttered it because it was definitely getting on in its years. So MZ Skin sent over their Tint and Protect Skin Perfecting SPF 30 Tinted Moisturizer. So I thought I would just go ahead and throw this on. Try it again, basically. And I'm trying to see, I can't remember if there are actual shades. I don't think so. I think this is it. I think it's a very, very lightly tinted product. Okay, that took a bit. The first few pumps, it seemed like the product had separated, even though I've been shaking it up. But anyway, I'm gonna just pump out a couple pumps here. That's what the product looks like. It is on the lighter side in terms of texture. It's not too thick or creamy. And yeah, I think you can see that the tint part of it is very, very light. It is very sheer. Ooh, it has a nice fragrance. It almost smells like cherry cough drops. I think I'm losing my mind, but that's what it reminds me of. So this is SPF 30, and I'm trying to figure out what type of SPF we have in here. Zinc oxide. Okay, so we have a physical SPF. I'm gonna pump out another pump here because I didn't make it to my forehead. I remember liking this skin tint. I just couldn't remember why, but it's really nourishing and it feels great with the RMS, plays nicely with that. I feel like my skin looks slightly radiant, but not oily or greasy, which is great. And I'm gonna move over now to the CHANTECAILLE products. So let me get them all out here. They sent everything so beautifully packaged in this gorgeous like dop kit case. And they even sent over a brush, which we'll use when we get to the eyes. Do some swatches, and let me show you the packaging. So this is the Wild Meadows blush in Anemone. So here is the packaging. It's got green metallic, beautiful flower imprint there. And then the other blush is Apple Blossom. It has like the blue metallic finish. Here is Apple Blossom. So here are swatches. We've got Anemone on the left, Apple Blossom on the right. So I'm gonna do just that. I'm going to put Anemone on my left cheek. I've got my BK Beauty 113 brush. I'm gonna pick up a little bit here. These are baked products. And I didn't put any powder down, so I'm curious how these products are gonna blend over, like right over that tinted SPF. Oh, nicely. Not a problem. Not blotchy at all. So this is Anemone. And now we're gonna put Apple Blossom on my right cheek. So here's Apple Blossom, here's Anemone. Anemone is just a tinge cooler in tone, and the Apple Blossom is a little bit lighter and brighter. They're both pretty bright. They're both pretty bright, but this one is like just a little bit lighter in tone, and the Anemone is just a little bit deeper. Both beautiful and perfect for the springtime. So those are the two blushes from CHANTECAILLE's collection. Now, let me move on to my brows. I'm gonna use the Chantecaille Full Brow Perfecting Gel and Tint in Dark. Just tame my brows a bit. And now for the Wild Meadows Quartet, here is that packaging with the yellow. And here are the 4 shades. So pretty. So I will swatch these from left to right, top to bottom. And we have basically like 3 satiny kind of metallic shades, and then we have 1 matte shade, which is that last one. So I'm using the Refer number 15 brush again, the fluffy blender brush. I'm gonna go into this matte shade. It's a little bit darker than shades I like to start with, but we'll see. So I think I'm just gonna focus this on my outer corner. Yeah, that's a little dark for me in terms of like an all over transition shade. So I'm gonna take a big brush. I've got this Refer 35 and it's clean, and just sort of run it over that shade, really blend it out. So it doesn't look too stark. Oh, that looks great actually now that it's blended out. I'm going to, of course, go into this pink shade. Been dying to try this one. I've got my Sonia G Worker 1 shade. I really love pinks that are this shade that are slightly cool toned, almost like you see a little bit of purple in there. So pretty, so pretty. I think if you stick to pinks that are on the cooler side, you're gonna avoid that possible eye infection look that sometimes happens when you use pinks and reds on your eyes. I think if you stick to cool ones, can you see like that little bit of purple undertone? I think it keeps it from looking like an eye infection, which is great. Now, let me use that Chantecaille brush they sent, which is the Precision Blend Brush. So here is that brush. It's like a pencil brush, a little bit bigger than a regular pencil brush. I'm gonna go into the gold shade and just add this to the tear duct inner corner area. Very pretty. And then the last shade, actually, let me clean this off, this Precision Blend Brush. I'm gonna clean that off and then go into the metallic brown shade, which looks to have a little bit of a purple undertone as well. And I'm just gonna add this to the outer corner. Oh wow, the silver in that brown shade is really coming out, and then layering it on top of this pink, I think brings out the cooler undertone. Wow, so pretty. All right, so that is the Chantecaille Wild Meadows Eye Quartet. So I'm gonna curl my eyelashes. I'm debating whether or not I want to try a new mascara. I just hate opening up all these mascaras. They go bad fairly quickly, and I have a ton of mascaras open. The one I'm debating is this Exa Beauty one from Credo Beauty, but I just opened up the Surratt Noir Lash Tint, the City Beauty Beyond Mascara. So yeah, I think I'm gonna hold off on this Exa Beauty one. Maybe just continue using my Chantecaille Faux Cils Longest Lash Mascara, because this is definitely on its last legs. And I've been trying to use this continuously to see if this is actually helping my lashes grow. And I've definitely cheated on this mascara a couple times this past month, but I have been using this the majority of the time. And can you see how long my lashes have gotten? Not bad, right? All right, and now I'm ready to try out the 3 new Chantecaille lip products. So I believe all of these are limited edition, part of the Wild Meadows collection. So these are all lip chics. So here is the packaging for the 3 different shades. So this first one is Crocus, here is Carpathia, and here is Meadow. And here's a swatch of all 3. From left to right, we have Crocus, Carpathia, and Meadow. So this is Crocus. Their incredible lip chic formula, of course, feels like a lip mask. And there is Crocus, beautifully lightly tinted. This is like a candy coral color. Next is Carpathia. And this one is similar to Crocus. It's just a little bit more pink, and it's more of like a strawberry shade versus like a coral shade. So that is Carpathia. And then last but not least, we have Meadow, which is the lightest of the 3. And this is like very peachy. straight up peachy kind of shade. All really pretty. I wish they had done a lip color that was really more of like a bright magenta to kind of go with this eye color, but maybe that would be too matchy-matchy. But anyway, those are the 3 new lip cheeks, limited edition for the Wild Meadows collection. And I think that's it, guys. I think that's all of the new makeup that I could possibly squeeze into one video, but I hope all the swatching and everything helped you out. Definitely check down below in the description box if you're interested in more information on the products, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.